All right, so I was actually going outside. I was waiting for the sun actually to go down, and I was gonna film you guys some exhaust content. But I get to the location, and I noticed that my PSI is down 7% on my rear right tire. All right, so we're gonna be on our way to BMW of Delray Beach because something happened to my M3, right? And I think this video is gonna be very important for anybody that's purchasing a BMW, whether it's brand new or used, whether it's an M model, whether it's an M Lite like M340i, any BMW. I think this video is very important because if you take my thought process and look at the breakdowns, it's gonna make total sense. So when we get back to the house, I'll explain to you guys fully exactly what I mean, why you should look into this, and how much more it's gonna save you on headaches and also money. So stay tuned, guys. Alright, so some things have changed in the garage. As you can see, up ahead, we have a mini split finally. I've been probably complaining in a lot of videos in the garage that it's way too hot. And this spring, I was thinking like, I need to jump the ball and actually pull the trigger on that and actually get that installed. And it's been on for the past 20 minutes. It's helping with the temperature in here in the garage. It's about 90 degrees outside here in sunny South Florida. I'm not gonna dive too deep into that, but if you guys have any questions, either leave a comment down below or DM me. That's a 2.5 ton from Mcooper and Hunter. It's a great machine. This is probably my third time using it. As I continue to do vlogs in the garage, I'm definitely gonna be using it all the time. So we're gonna basically talk about what happened, right? And we're gonna talk about some of the things that you should probably look into when you're buying a brand new BMW or even a used BMW. And I know in the beginning of the video, I even mentioned this doesn't really just pertain to M cars, this pertains to any BMW, right? So we'll get into that. All right, as you guys saw in the beginning of the video, we were talking about going to the dealership, getting this tire put on, and one of the things that we'll talk about is actually the wheel and tire insurance. So as you can see, these are my Edelweiss LT5s. And these look absolutely great on the car. What happened was, about a few days ago, I was going outside to this nice location because on the weekends it's empty. And what I was gonna do was actually get some exhaust content, you know? And I think the exhaust content will probably help solidify some of the decisions that you guys are probably thinking about when going on to a different setup. You know, I know some of the most important things to do for this car to really amplify the driving experience is to work on the exhaust, suspension, which we'll tackle in a future video. This is not even the final, you could say, setup. I got a few things that I'm working on, so stay tuned. But as you can see, you know, I have my stock wheels on. What happened was I was trying to get some exhaust content, and when I got to the location, which I probably mentioned in the beginning of the video, when I got to the location, I realized that my TPMS sensor was going off. It was telling me that I was losing PSI and I probably need to call roadside. Luckily, I was able to get the car back in the garage before I actually lost all PSI. So like I said, before you even purchase a car, make sure all the numbers work out for you. But this is my thought process, right? If it makes sense to you, then it probably clicks. If it doesn't, then obviously let me know what you think in the comment section, because people do read the comments and it does help other people out in these type of situations. But for me, I knew I was gonna keep this car longer term, right? And what I mean longer term is because a lot of people, when they purchase a car, Some people lease these M's, which is perfectly fine. I know about a few years ago, the interest rate was at something really incredible, right? 0.9% interest rate, which was insane. But you have to realize, if you're keeping the car long term, this is probably going to be for you. So most leases are probably about 2 years, right? Almost 3 years. If you plan on keeping the car for more than that, I highly suggest looking at the wheel and tire package. Because in this situation, this specific wheel, I've already replaced probably twice already with brand new tires. And the first one was actually not even 2 weeks old. I had a nail in the tire, and that wheel and tire coverage actually took care of the whole bill of getting a new tire. Fast forward to a few weeks ago, we're looking at my third tire being covered on the warranty. This right here, LT5s, is my third wheel being covered under the wheel and tire insurance. Those Pirellis, like I said, they were replaced twice already, right? I'll list the cost right over here. And then these Michelins, these are the PS4s for the M3 spec. And these are a $295/30 ZR20. When you get to the finance department, they're always gonna ask you if you want these specific options, right? Whether it's the maintenance program. In the maintenance program, I don't think you really need it, but when it comes to like the wheel and tire insurance, especially, look, I live in an area where it's a new development. There's constantly new houses being built in this neighborhood, and there's always construction being done. And even my buddy Walkley, right, he lives in the very nice area, and he has the X5M. He's probably replaced his tires like 4 times already, and it's X5M, and those tires are a lot more than mine. And he has the Michelins on there. When I first purchased my M3, I purchased it from Roadshow BMW, and that's in Tennessee. My salesman, Marcus Cooper, very easy to deal with. BMW enthusiast. Long story short, I was like, hey Marcus, don't sugarcoat me. All I really want for the package-wise is just the wheel and tire insurance. I don't want anything else. And the price that I got was $3,340, right? $3,440. That may sound like a lot of money, but hear me out. Let's go over to that wheel. So hear me out, $3,340. It's a lot of money. Sure, you could spend the money on some cheaper tires, and that could be a solution, but I know a lot of you guys are probably not gonna do that. And a lot of you are probably gonna be wanting the Michelin PS4s. I just got the Michelin PS4s on these, and the quote came back to about almost $450 plus taxes and fees. You're almost closer to $500. So as of right now, I have 3 tires being replaced, and that's only the first year. The wheel and tire coverage that I did get covers me for 5 years. So if I already covered 3 tires with my luck, I'm probably gonna be even less lucky later on because, again, construction constantly going on, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna need to replace more tires as we continue to build this vehicle here. What most people don't realize too, the wheel and tire insurance not only covers just your wheel and tires, it all depends on which package you get and also which company, right? I got mine specifically from BMW. It's the wheel and tire package from them, and they call this package the Platinum package. And when I was first thinking about the whole car process, I was actually thinking about going cheaper. I was actually thinking about not going with the Platinum package, which I'm glad I did go with the Platinum package because something happened to my car besides the tire. And before we get into exactly what happened to my car, You may not think it's a big deal, but if you're OCD like me or you're really particular about things, then it's gonna bother you. The Platinum package does come with keys. You're allowed to replace 3 keys per year. That's the max you could do. I don't see how you can lose your key 3 times in a year, but if you really think about the cost to program, to replace the key, you're looking at, I would say on average, $500 plus. You know, let's just say $500. And then also, the wheel and tire package covers aftermarket wheels, right? So again, these wheels are not OEM. These tires are not OEM because when I got my car built, it came with the Pirellis that everybody hates, like I said. So when I went in today and I showed them the wheel, I was like, hey, look, these are on the car. Is there a possibility where I can just put the wheel in the trunk and put my stock wheels back on, because I'd rather not get it towed all the way to the dealership, because at that point it's inconvenience, it's gonna take longer, and I'd rather just do it myself, so I'm in and out and I have to deal with them possibly scraping the front end because the car is lowered. I'm sure they have really good skilled tow truck drivers, but I just don't want to take that risk. So it covers obviously the keys. And it also covers dents. And we're talking about dents where it's not like massive dents. For example, if somebody kicked your door in, it's not gonna cover that. But if you had a door ding from just being in the supermarket, or for me, I think maybe a hotel. I think I got this dent at the Invasion of Orlando because other than that, it was on this side of the car, which you're not gonna be able to see right now, and I'm not gonna show you guys, but it's like a size of a dime or a nickel, right? And the Platinum package covers any dents, dings that are no larger than a quarter size. So I fit the criteria, and here's one thing that I had a question about to Marcus once I put this wheel on, so give me a second. So I was asking Marcus, I was like, hey, do I have to go to the dealership for any of this? Obviously the key you would want to, because they could program it and it's all OEM. For the tires, I could have gone to a third party and have that done. And then with the dents, that's really important, right? Because I'm not gonna lie, some dealerships, they hire some people and it's not the best when they actually do their craft. And you may prefer somebody or some other, business that has somebody else as a vendor. For me, eventually when I get my front grille changed out, and here's a hint, my front grille and front lip and all that stuff, I'm gonna go to the guys at Hughes Detailing, only because the whole front end, the whole car is PPF'd, and I wanna be able to make sure that that's not destroyed when they take off the front bumper. I also want to use their dent guy, because I know that Brandon at Hughes Detailing is very particular and he vets his people pretty well. So I trust him and his opinion about using his dent guy, and we'll take that dent off. And the insurance is gonna cover that. The wheel and tire coverage, the Platinum package is gonna cover those dents. Again, it's unfortunate, For me, seeing that, it doesn't bother me too much, but it only bothers me when I start washing the car and I see the dent. I'm like, damn. This is a great jack, by the way. This is a 2-ton Pittsburgh racing floor jack. And what's good about it is that it's made for lowered cars. So I don't have any issues with getting it underneath the car. I don't need to drive the car up on a ramp or anything. I'm gonna finish the other side off camera, and then we're gonna come back right over here and we're gonna talk about it, because I think the analyzation between this topic is pretty important. It's gonna save you guys money and also time, and also I think a lot of people have questions about this, and a lot of things that we just talked about, the dent coverage, the keys, a lot of people don't know about exactly what this wheel and tire package does. But you also have to realize too, there's other companies that the dealership will sell you on. I know another popular one is gonna be Allstate, which I don't really know too much about, but if you guys have that coverage with Allstate, let me know in the comments, because again, people do read the comments, and we're a community here. It's gonna be able to help other BMW enthusiasts, and if not, other car enthusiasts. So let me get that done. I'll come back right over here. Okay, so let's talk about it. As you know, we just talked about how the wheel and tire insurance could be something that gives you an umbrella, right? Umbrella of insurance. It's only worth it if you get your money's worth, right? So the base price for me, I'm sure you could probably haggle with your service advisor, or I'm sorry, your finance manager. All those pricing varies, depends on where you're at. I'm pretty sure I could probably haggle a little bit more, but I was happy with $34.40 because I knew what coverage I was getting. The main thing you're looking at is tires, right? That's what you really get this for. So for example, I already have 3 tires already that have been replaced. That gives me about, let's just say $1,500. I'm gonna have to get that dent out. That's probably gonna cost me about, on the low end, maybe $100 to almost $200, depending on which vendor. So let's just say $200. I'm already at $1,700. I'm almost halfway towards what my original cost was. And that's only year 1. Additionally too, you gotta ask your finance manager or your sales advisor, does the wheel and tire package cover cosmetics? So for example, I'm not gonna have this issue because my wife can't drive the car. If you were to lend your car to your significant other, your wife, husband, whatever, and they park it, they back it up into a spot, they forget to look at the mirrors, and they curb the wheel. They curb your OEM wheels, they curb these wheels, whatever it is, right? I haven't curbed any aftermarket wheels with the coverage. I think on my F30, I've curbed the wheel, and it was the OEM wheels, and they covered it. But when it comes to these wheels, to get them refinished, if you had to, you're probably looking about a couple $100, right? And a lot of the times, it depends on which vendor and also the insurance, there's clause in it, right? You have to really fine tune it. I know for the OEM wheels, what they do is they have a vendor come out, they'll sand it down, they'll spray paint it to whatever finish it is, and they'll also spray a couple coats of clear. And from my experience, I know I had on my F30, when I had it, I did have that issue where I curbed it and they covered that curb mark and it became out perfect. And I couldn't notice it. That itself, sometimes they charge you about $200 a wheel, maybe $150. But that's something that gives you a peace of mind, right? So you gotta look at everything. If it all makes sense to you, then you should probably look into adding this coverage onto your purchase of your vehicle. For me, one of the big things for me is definitely the tires, right? So I don't do this, but I know some people do, is that they happen to capture nails every so often, right? That's something that it could work for you. But what I look at is obviously the dent coverage, because as much as you want to park away from other people, and for example, the reason why I had a dent in Orlando probably is because the Invasion of Orlando, the hotel parking lot was packed. We filled up a lot of the hotel parking lots, and because you know what, the BMW community is the best community out there, and we really showed what the community was about. You guys all came out to Orlando, and we showed, actually we had an amazing show. But every single hotel that we reserved for the guests, it was filled with BMWs. I know specifically I wasn't parked to a BMW the night of the show, because at that time when I got back to the hotel after having some dinner and waiting for everybody to clean up at the event, I had to park to another car. It looked like a rental, to be honest, and probably those people that didn't care, and the door opened up pretty wide, and I have a nice dime size of a dent. Again, it's not really a big deal, but if you're very particular about that, that will bother you. So for me, I think year 1, I'm almost there where as this pace goes on, hopefully it doesn't continue like that, I will get my money's worth. Here's where it's not worth it. If you plan on buying the car and you don't plan on driving it, maybe like 3,000 miles a year, or you probably are gonna lease the car, then maybe it's not worth it. You may not get to the $3,200 to $3,400 mark by the end of your lease. It may not be worth it. because I'm not sure, correct me if I'm wrong, these coverages, I'm not sure if they're sold by years or anything like that, but I know that when I purchased the Platinum package, it was a 5-year coverage. I really do plan on keeping this car. I do mention it a lot of times when people ask me, because this is most likely the last manual M3. So for me, I'm a big proponent of driving a manual car, so this is definitely gonna be staying in the garage. So if you found this video helpful, do me a favor, hit the like button. I don't really ask too much about that, but the likes, also the comments, it does help this channel. We're slowly, gradually going to the 13K mark, which I really appreciate it. Just to give you guys an update, I'm waiting for one mod, right? It's a coilover, so I could do the rest of the mods. The reason why I want to do it this way, because as you can see, and also the way I think, I do it methodically, right? I like to methodically go through my modding process where I'm not backstepping a little bit. I know getting these springs was definitely a backstep, and we're gonna do a full review about these springs and how I like them, and if it's for you, right? There's 2 different ways of looking at it, and I think when I do the review, it's gonna be pretty enticing for a lot of you guys to either avoid it or get it for your G80 or G82 M4, or your G83, so a lot of you convertible people. So other than that, I wanna thank you guys so much for watching this video, but stay tuned, I got so much more content coming. Next month, I have a big month. We're gonna be recording in another state, and I think you guys are gonna really like that. It's a lot of information that you're gonna wanna know for your BMW, and I'm excited to showcase that. But other than that, I wanna thank you guys again, and I'll see you guys on the next video.